Hello again. We are looking at the Good Shepherd parable from John chapter 10, and we're going to look at our questions. So let's begin. The first question says, read John 9:40-41. Jesus is about to tell the parable of the Good Shepherd. What does he say about the Pharisees, who were supposed to be Israel's shepherds? Now this event occurs right after Jesus does a healing, a miraculous healing, and the Pharisees try to deny him the ability to heal and that comes from God. So Jesus says to them, after they say, "Are we blind too?" You see, before that he said, "For judgment I have come into this world, so that the blind will see, and those who see will become blind." He's saying there that he's going to rescue us who are lost in sin and make us into his people, and that he's going to make those who think they're saved realize that they are sinners so that they will seek him out and be rescued. Okay? So now the Pharisees say, "Are we blind?" And Jesus really wants them to become blind. He wants them to come to the point where they are desperate for Jesus to come and save them. So he says, if you were blind, you would not be guilty of sin. But see, here's the thing. They claim they can see. If they were blind, he would heal their sins. He would make them perfect. But they claim they can see. They claim they know more than Jesus, that they know God's plans when they don't. And so their sins, their guilt remains because they reject Jesus and the healing that he offers. So then he tells this parable to explain the difference between the Pharisees, the false teachers of Israel who lead people to death, and himself, the true shepherd of Israel who leads people to life. So we read John 10:1-3, and here Israel's sheep pens were walled with gates. Jesus later says he is the gate to Israel's sheep pen. Who tries to get to the sheep of Israel in a way that avoids talking about Jesus? Well, the Pharisees in our historical story here do exactly that. They want to control the people of Israel by telling the people of Israel that they are following the laws of Moses. But they deny the Messiah. They deny the one who comes and not abrogates, but completes the law and does it in their place. And so they try to get to Israel to teach them and to guide them in kind of a backdoor manner. But that doesn't work because they don't have the power to save. But Jesus, he comes in through the gate, which leads us to our next question. Christians know Jesus' voice by studying Jesus' word, the Bible. How do Christians act when they hear Jesus' word? So in John 10:3-5, we learn that the good shepherd comes in by the gate, and he's let in by the watchman to the sheep. So he comes in through word and sacrament. We learn about Jesus through the Bible. We receive the Holy Spirit and Jesus through baptism and through communion. And these are the means Jesus uses. He uses teachers like me and Mrs. Hayward to teach you about Jesus. So he uses them to bring his voice, to bring his words to the sheep. And since the sheep hear Jesus' word and the Holy Spirit works through it, now when they hear his word, they react with pleasure. They react by following his word. And that's the answer to the question. When the sheep hear Jesus' word, they follow what it says. But B, when they hear voices that go against Jesus' word, then they flee from it, it says. They first of all don't listen because it's not their shepherd. Second of all, they think this is a danger, kind of like stranger danger. And so they avoid those who teach falsehood, who teach things that are not part of God's revealed word. So a present example of teachings that you should flee from would be the transgender activists, those who say that you can choose whether you're male or female. You can't choose that. You are created male or female, and you know which one you are. And in your mind, if you think, oh, I'm the other thing, that's not real. So we should flee those teachings and come back to Jesus' word and to his voice. Read John 10:6. So in John 10:6 it says, Jesus used this figure of speech, but they did not understand what he was telling them. The Pharisees and those of their ilk did not understand what Jesus was talking about. So here, this is figurative blindness. They've had a picture revealed to them, a reality revealed to them, but they're not really comprehending it up here. It may have come in through the eyes, but the brain isn't processing it. They've rejected this picture Jesus has made. So, question 5, how is the good shepherd different from a hired shepherd? Well, the good shepherd places the life of the sheep above his own life. It's like a parent who would sacrifice themselves for their children. Well, a hired shepherd, sure, they try to protect the sheep up to a point, but if it's a big bear and they've just got a big stick, they're not going to let the bear kill them. They'll let the bear kill the sheep before they let the bear kill them. Because the sheep aren't more valuable than the shepherd is. And that's a reality. But Jesus, the infinite creator of the universe, he did let himself be killed for his sheep. Now that's quite different. He's willing to give everything, literally everything, so that we might live. Read John 10:16. What is the promise for the lost sheep of Israel and for Gentiles, non-Jews? Well, in 16 it says, I have other sheep that are not of the sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. So the promise is Jesus is going to gather us all together as his people, all together in the safety of heaven, really, in the safety of living with him in the new heaven and the new earth. We're all going to be one flock. This applies to the people of Israel who were lost. Like the Pharisees, he's attempting to gather them together by making them blind so that later they can see. Or it applies to us, the Gentiles, those who aren't Jews. Eventually, he's going to send the 13 apostles out into the world, Paul being the one who really goes far, and he's going to bring us to become Christians so that all Christians can be one flock under Jesus. 7. Who decides that Jesus will die for us? And who decides that Jesus will rise from the dead? Well, Jesus has been given this authority by God the Father. And the authority is, he says, when on Maundy Thursday in the Garden of Gethsemane, let this cup pass from me, but not my will, but thine be done. And then on the cross, he says, it is finished, and he gives up his own spirit. He dies. He chooses to die, and he dies for us. He has that authority. But then he has the authority on Easter Sunday to walk out of the tomb. No one else has to raise him up. Jesus decides that his dead flesh is no longer dead. Now it's alive. He has the authority to do this, and he rises. We're given the authority to breathe forgiveness, to breathe life to others and teach about Jesus' word so that others can hear his voice and become his sheep. And in so doing, we have the authority to give life to others. John 10:27-29. What is the final fate of the sheep, and how is this fate guaranteed? Well, the final fate of the sheep is that the Father takes them into his family and keeps them forever. And it says here, no one will be able to snatch us from the Father's hands. So we're his sheep. He's not going to let us go. We are going to be saved. We will be part of that one great flock. And this guarantee doesn't depend on us. It depends on the Father and his actions and his love, which were shown in the actions of the Good Shepherd, laying down his life for the sheep, and the action of the Good Shepherd taking that life back up so he could make us alive with him. Thank you very much.